Let's check in with Joseph Lindsley in Ukraine.
Joe. Little fucking Joe Lindsley.
Joe Lindsley is quickly becoming an American treasure in broadcasting.
Welcome to Ukraine Bank.
Joe, I finally watched the 60 Minutes piece from a week ago about the resistance in Ukraine, the civilians who are fighting, and also the soldiers who they fight, and in many cases they're wounded, and then they go right back. It was so impressive. I mean, it makes you really admire the people there of Ukraine. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. Did you?
Bob, no, I did not, but I'm happy to know that exists and that people are sharing those stories with the world. Those are the stories that we're surrounded by every single day here. I'm talking to you today from Lviv, and it's calm and quiet, and we have electricity. It's a little bit warmer today. It's almost 50 degrees, and so the winter so far, the cold season as winter approaches, has been successful here for the Ukrainians. Over the weekend, the Russians sent drones throughout different parts of the country, sort of these little miniature eyes of Sauron looking for targets. But there was nothing major and significant as far as missile attacks. So there were some attacks a couple hours ago in the Dnipro region. But as you talk about that resilience and, having to, especially those guys who get injured and have to go and recover, and then they go back, some of them go back to the fight, or they go back to contribute in other ways. And I feel that everywhere. The other day, Saturday, walking through the historic center of Lviv, I saw there were two friends walking next to each other, each of them missing a leg, using crutches. And you see this more and more and more. And this was not a city that's really designed for people that are disabled. It's a very old city, a lot of steps, but people just they just muster on and carry on with this. And I was talking with my friend, a Ukrainian artist who goes by the name Nevan Maid, and his real name is Mikhailo. And he was recalling this idea that for Ukrainians, the full-scale invasion by Russia happened on February 24th, 2022. And for Ukrainians, every single day is February 24th. And there's this idea that the day of victory, whenever that might be, will be February 25th. Finally, the next day, we get to move beyond all this. And my friend, the artist Nevan Maid, said he believes that day, the 25th, the day of victory, will be a day of tears. That will be a day of crying, because that will be the point of exhaustion after the victory is completed. But before then, there's not really time for crying and sobbing and being sad. And so you have to. There's actually joy here now, because you need to have these moments to, exactly as you described from that 60 Minutes report, to recover. You take a few blows, you get injured, you have loved ones who die, but you have to find ways to get energy to keep going. And so there's this sense that, I think it seems paradoxical, but that when this is all completed, people will, there'll be a lot of tears, but right now you have to keep spirits up. And I saw this with two situations over the weekend. There's a little pizzeria in the center of Lviv, the medieval and Renaissance center of Lviv with the cobbled streets. And there was a little pizzeria there, a tiny place, and you can't even sit down, but people love to gather there. It's great pizza and great camaraderie, and people talk about how to work for victory. And the guy who makes the dough there, really one of the best in the world, he was conscripted to fight. And so the pizza place has been shut down for a few months, and he was off training. And he came back for one day. He's on the way to the front now. And so on Saturday, he was there for one day, and he hopped behind the counter and was making pizza and pasta. And everyone was sort of gathered, and all these people that hadn't seen each other in a while, the sort of the regulars that would go to this cafe. And it was this nice moment of joy before the next round, in this case, before the pizza maker goes off to become a sniper, which he's now trained to do. And there was a moment when everyone sort of got quiet, and Anastasia, she's the owner of the place. She's always a very cheerful, smiling person. And she said, "Chumu sumno." Why sad? Why is everyone so sad? And everyone just looked at each other in silence, and you could feel that heaviness, knowing that, until that magical day of February 25th, until the day of victory, all those people would likely not be gathered in that place again. And our friend, the Dimitro, the pizza maker, he's going off to fight the invaders, and he won't be making pizza until that day of victory. But you needed that moment of sort of people coming together with a little bit of celebration. And then just a few blocks away, in the basement of, it's called the Puppet Theater, an old theater in Lviv, there was an event with an American musician from Ohio. And he and his friends have raised a lot of money playing concerts, traveling the Midwest. They're here in Ukraine to do some Christmas shows at the front lines. And so you see these volunteers who can't stay away from Ukraine. And so his name is Benya Stewart. And Benya was playing these old American ballads from Kentucky and Pennsylvania and North Carolina. And people were waltzing and dancing in this underground theater. And, you know, some of these ballads are heavy and sad, and there was a lot of music about the war. You can never get away from that. But it was this nice moment of, you know, people having a time to recharge and rejuvenate before facing whatever might come ahead. And then the next day on Sunday, I had a message from a friend, a Ukrainian soldier who was pretty badly wounded in battle back in the summer. And his arm was torn apart. And he sent me this video, and he was in the gym in the rehab center. And you could tell he was in a lot of pain, but he's using that arm that was almost destroyed and is recovering. And he wants to get back to the fight. And so you see everyone needs to have these moments of finding strength together, even with a little bit of joy and smiling. It's not a time of tears. It's a time of staying encouraged and keeping going.
You know what, Joe? The stories are always incredible. And many of our listeners go to WGNradio.com and follow your social media links and watch your videos. A nice email from Dave in Hammond, Indiana. Hi, Bob. Joseph Lindsley's YouTube short was very on point on December 13th. I feel the same way. Our leaders are safely doing nothing and just trying to look good, which does seem to echo the 1930s. Please remind all of us that we can donate to the Ukrainian cause by donating a few dollars to Ukrainian Freedom News. Thank you, and Joe, for keeping up the reports. How about that?
Well, thanks to Dave for that. And that YouTube video in question, that was a day when I was not able to connect with you all due to the internet problems and some Russian cyber attacks. So I was pretty angry when I made that video. So I used words that I would not use on radio. If you want to check it out, at UkrainianFreedomNews.com. And I wanted to share with you all, speaking of support, I wanted to share with you some greetings from my friend Reg. He's a British veteran. He's from Wales, and he came here to fight, like so many from around the world. And a few weeks ago, he said he needed a truck for their unit. They're providing fire support for different assaults, at the front lines in Donbass and other parts of eastern Ukraine. And thanks to listeners at WGN and our friends from Polish TVP World, the Polish TV channel, and others, we were able to get a truck. It was delivered on Saturday. And so Reg wanted to share these words. It's a little noisy at the beginning because he's there at the front. But here are some words from Reg, one of the foreign fighters here standing for freedom in Ukraine.
I am Reg, and my team is a direct beneficiary of the support that you give to the heroes of Ukraine who fight for the freedom and the world as we know it. With your support, we have secured a 4x4 truck which will aid us in taking the fight to the invaders. To us, this isn't just a truck. It's a tool, an enabler, just as much as the armor we wear and the guns we operate. Freedom isn't free. We must be ready to pay in blood with a blank check up to and including our lives. Our troops fight day and night, in the mud and in the sun, in the rain and in the snow. This is our pledge, our promise. We will not be broken. Together, with your support, we will ensure that this free and fearsome land remains a beacon of values to which we should all aspire, including my home of the United Kingdom and, of course, the United States. While the Western halls of power and influence continue to defer and delay, it's the freedom-loving citizens like yourself that bridge the gap to restore the Ukrainian faith in the fact that this world is indeed behind them and always will be. Slava Ukraini, Heroim Slava, glory to Ukraine and glory to the heroes.
A voice direct from the front. It's nice to hear those words, isn't it?
Especially I think when people get nervous or get bored far away from there, to hear that people can be calm and focused and even cheerful right there at the edge, facing the Russian invaders every single day. So, and we welcome support UkrainianFreedomNews.com. You can also see those videos there. UkrainianFreedomNews.com. Thanks everyone for sticking with us as we keep going.
Yeah, rewarding to hear a message like that. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you as always, Joseph.
Until tomorrow. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Що він сказав?
Well, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні?